Hello, 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 dear listeners. Welcome to the second episode of the Itch and Scratch Show, the podcast that is a fusion of inspiration and self discovery. I hope you're ready to scratch that creative itch and reignite that spark in both your personal and professional lives. I'm your host, Sheekha Singh. Today's topic has sparked a lot of debate in the recent past, and there are also a number of books on this topic. By the way, thank you to everyone who voted on my Instagram story. If you're not already following me, go follow me on Instagram at shikasing_writer. All the updates for the podcast episodes would be on that page. So today's topic is about toxic positivity. Fear not, people. We all have been there and we all have done that. We are all guilty of either posting, retweeting, or sharing those positive quotes about life and various emotions on social media and or other texting platforms. Heck, I even did it today. Funny, eh? But this harmless act of sharing a positive quote or saying on life, especially when a friend or a family member is in pain, does have a negative effect. Huh? But how? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Isn't that what we've been taught at school? And isn't that what everyone's been telling us all our life? Be happy, be smiling, be kind. Well, looks like you were inflicting toxic positivity all over. I found out that toxic positivity leads to dismissing actual real emotions. So wait, what exactly is toxic positivity? And how exactly can positivity be toxic? So I did a little bit of research as usual. Thank you very much. And I found some really interesting things. According to this article published in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology, toxic positivity is defined as the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state that results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. And this article is titled Hiding Feelings: The Acute Effects of Inhibiting Negative and Positive Emotions. So, this means when you were trying to console your friend during a nasty breakup or a divorce, you were invalidating your friend's authentic emotions? Yeah. So what now? In actuality, toxic positivity means difficult emotions are being rejected and replaced with this constant, cheerful approach, which actually ends up masking the true feelings. So, when this kind of positivity is used to silence all the authentic and real emotions, it ends up being toxic. Yes, you heard it right. The main reason being it makes people believe that their dire emotions are wrong and that they're only allowed to feel happy always. This can cause harmful feelings of shame. This outlook may lead to unattainable expectations of happiness and perfectionism, which can cause guilt and feelings of failure when expectations are not achieved. Told your friends, it's fine, you'll get over it, this is life, it's not fair, it happens to everyone. Multiple times, right? Because we were told, don't let anyone be sad. We were always told, cheer them up. Be there for them, but also don't let them be sad. Little did we know that this contributed to a toxic, can end up being toxic. When asked in an interview, what is the opposite of toxic positivity? Whitney Goodman, a psychotherapist and author of the book titled Toxic Positivity, says, opposite of toxic positivity is radical acceptance. Make room for the experience rather than putting a label on it. She says, acknowledge what is happening and make room for it. And that will eventually lead you to being optimistic. She goes on to say how we as humans tend to wallow more if someone says we shouldn't be feeling a certain way. And she says this starts from the very beginning when we are kids. Our parents always tell us, it's fine, you will get over it, it's okay. And she says that's where we have to start changing. We have to, people during interviews saying, oh yeah, what's the worst that can happen? We'll be okay, we'll be fine. Working from home, that's great. But she says this is not okay. There's a pandemic going on. People are losing their lives. They're losing their loved ones. How can it be okay? And don't expect me to be okay about it. That's toxic. She says, face it. Face the emotions that you're feeling and acknowledge them. Maybe you can learn something out of it. Maybe you could improve on few things. You want to be happy, few things cheer you up, and maybe you're down, you're scrolling, and you just want to see something that lifts your mood. Maybe you see this quote that someone posted on grief. Maybe that helps you move on. But at the end of the day, are you actually feeling your emotions and your actions? Are you mindful of what's going on with you? Or are you just masking it with this wave of positivity? Nothing's always going to be okay. So, after all that research, I came up with the signs of toxic positivity for you guys, and I also am going to discuss how to avoid toxic positivity. Reciting positive quotes about hard situations. Now, if you are one of those who, no matter what life throws at you, goes, oh yeah, that's fine, it happens to everyone, and then you'd say, no pain, no gain, or things that are positive, even though you're in a hard situation, then that means you're being toxic and you're inflicting toxic positivity. Are you feeling guilty for being sad or angry? That is another sign. Don't feel guilty for being sad. You are supposed to be sad if things don't go the way they're supposed to go. If you lost a loved one, or if your friend is going through something really horrible, it's okay to be sad and it's okay to be angry. Something happened and let's say your community is facing a problem. It's okay to be angry at the system. It's okay to be angry at the rules. It's okay to be sad. Don't feel guilty. If you're feeling guilty about being sad or angry or any other emotion, then you're allowing toxic positivity to take a hold of you. Dismissing or shaming others' difficult feelings. Imagine a friend came up to you and told you, hey, I lost my job today. They just let me go. I put in tons of work. I put in so much into it, into this job. I gave my 100% every day and they just let me go. And you go in and say, don't worry about it. You're amazing. You'll get another job. Or there are hundreds of positions out in the market. You'll find something very soon. Opportunities out there. But what you're actually doing is you're dismissing and shaming them for feeling all those things. Your friend is trying to share something with you, and your friend is trying to open up to you, and your friend is trying to tell you how they actually feel about being fired. And instead of listening, you are just dismissing their feeling. Don't do that. That means you are indirectly feeding toxic positivity. Hiding painful emotions and ignoring your problems. If you do not acknowledge your emotions, that would be a telltale sign that you are having this toxic positive behavior all the time in your life. Are you ignoring your problems? Just because you think, oh yeah, it's going to be fine, and you have this good vibes always attitude, or if you have this attitude that says be positive always, be kind, be smiling always, that's not okay. That's another sign of toxic positivity. Are you minimizing others' feelings because they make you uncomfortable? For example, you have a friend that comes to you and just starts crying for losing a bag. Or let's say you have a relative of yours or a family member of yours who talks to you over the phone and suddenly starts crying. And I know that makes you uncomfortable. And let's say there's a colleague who you hardly have a good relationship, but you just ask them how they are, and maybe they're going through something really bad in their life and they just start to break down in front of you. If that makes you uncomfortable, are you just brushing off what this other person is trying to tell you or share with you, or are you listening to them? Are you making room for what they're feeling? If you're just minimizing whatever they're feeling just because it makes you uncomfortable and you don't know how to react or what to do, then we've got work. And I get it. It's not a one-day thing. You won't be ready for this just because you've listened to Sheekha's podcast on toxic positivity. All I'm saying is identify next time when someone's showing their emotions or someone is trying to share something, make room for it. Don't get uncomfortable. And I'm talking to all the guys out here. Why is it that whenever someone cries or hugs you, you guys get uncomfortable? Maybe it's not in your DNA, or maybe I'm just trying to generalize, but most of the people who I have met in the past have become uncomfortable. So don't just minimize others' feelings. Once you have identified and understood what toxic positivity is, it's going to be easy to start avoiding it. First things first, learn this. It is okay to not be okay. I'm going to repeat it again so that you don't forget it. It is okay to not be okay. Manage your emotions, but don't deny them. If you're getting angry about something, don't go ahead and start throwing things and start shattering your furniture or your glassware, or hit your window with a chair just because I told you to acknowledge your feelings of anger. Manage it. Once you've started to identify that a certain thing is triggering a certain emotion in you, try to manage it. Don't deny it. Listen to others and show support. If someone's sharing their grief, their pain, sorrow, anything, listen. The easiest thing that you can do is to listen. And the next step is to practice these statements. For example, if a relative of yours came up to you and said, I don't think I can continue with medical school. It's just too much. Your initial reaction would be to say, hey, medical school has always been hard. Now that is a toxic statement. The non-toxic alternative would be, you are not alone in feeling that medical school is challenging. Next, you might hear someone crib about how nothing goes their way all the time. You would tell them, happiness is a choice. How many times have you told people this too shall pass? Well, the next time you find yourself using that sentence, use this instead. Your feelings are valid and legitimate. If you find yourself saying, things always happen for a reason, take a minute before you say it. Say this instead. I am sorry that this happened. How can I help? You can tell them that they are not alone in feeling some things. What are some actionable steps that you can take to cope with toxic positivity? First one, be realistic about what you feel. Share. Show support. Look for meaning behind what you're going through. Notice how you feel. That is super important. Noticing how you feel and being aware of your feelings can make a huge difference. Know that it's okay to feel more than one thing. Your emotions can be complex, and that's okay. Your emotions can depend on situations, and that's fine too. Put your feelings into words. For example, write in a journal or talk to a friend. Don't be afraid to challenge the person being toxically positive. I love this. When I read this in an article, I was so happy. When you're challenging this type of response, remember that it can get uncomfortable. So when you are talking to a person who's trying to inflict these toxic positive thoughts in you, then just confront them. By doing this, we are giving ourselves permission to feel our feelings completely, because these emotions are real and they're authentic. They're real and they're valid and they're important. So overall, when I started to practice these statements, I realized that I needed to change too. I needed to accept the fact that people can be sad, people can face all the emotions, and I am allowed to feel all these emotions too. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you should act on every emotion that you feel. Sometimes it's important to just sit with your feelings. Just give yourself time and space. Give yourself time to process the situation. Being positive up to a certain extent is fine, but life is not always sunny. I hope you found this episode immensely helpful. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. We are here to support each other and grow together. As we wrap up this episode, I encourage each one of you to go reflect on the insights that you've gained today, challenge those inflicting toxic positive thoughts, and let's embrace real emotions. It's time to get real, people. Let's learn to manage our emotions and to learn how it is okay to not be okay. So next time, don't say toxic positive statements. Instead, listen well, acknowledge emotions, and offer your support. And as always, remember, you're worthy, you're capable, and you are on a journey of continuous growth. Thank you everyone for joining me on the Itch and Scratch show. If you have found this episode valuable, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content. If you want to ask a question on a future episode of Podcasting Q&A, click on the link in the show notes to record your question in a voicemail. Also, next time, we're going to have a guest on our show. Check out our Instagram page for more details. And until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and love yourself. Cheers!